Just over 2 years ago, Britain voted to quit the European Union, and the day is fast approaching when a deal must be struck over how that separation will work. Now, British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt is warning of chaos that could be caused by a so-called hard Brexit if Britain leaves without an agreement between London and the EU. And just today, London Mayor Sadiq Khan asked the British Disaster Preparation Agency to evaluate the effects of that possible hard Brexit. Special correspondent Malcolm Brabant has been examining some of the potential consequences.
Dawn in Brixham, southwestern England, one of Britain's key fishing ports, and daily trading is underway.
I've got £30, 30, 10, £14, 14, 10.
Brixham Market has Britain's biggest fish sales. Ian Perks, who exports to Europe, is reaping the benefits of the Brexit vote. Since then, sterling, the British currency, has weakened by 12%. Perks buys fish in British pounds and sells in euros. But there have been dire warnings that if Britain leaves the tariff-free European Union without a deal in a so-called hard Brexit, fish will end up rotting on the dockside.
A load of old tosh. There is never going to be any fish left on the dock. Every fish here for the last 30 years is sold. Nothing is ever left. There will be no fish left rotting on the dock, I can assure you of that. I think business will continue and we will thrive, which is why I voted out.
Brixham's trawlermen are staunch Brexiteers because they regard Europe's fishing quotas as unfair. One of the world's most bountiful fishing grounds is close by, yet 70% of catches go to foreign fleets. Barry Young runs Brixham Market.
I don't think the English fishermen are naive enough to believe that they're going to have 100% of the quota. We just like a little bit more of the natural resource on England's doorstep so that we can earn a decent living.
Brexit has divided modern Britain like never before. 10 miles from Brixham in Totnes, so-called Remainers have launched a rearguard action. They've declared independence from Britain and are issuing passports that proclaim loyalty to Brussels.
You must read the oath, which you've got there on the back here.
I affirm my allegiance to the European Union
and promise to abide by and promote the universal values
upon which it is based. I'm so proud to have these.
Retired psychotherapist Fiona Green hopes that other pro-Remain areas will follow and that the rebellion will bear fruit.
I'm kind of outraged that this Brexit nonsense, which is going to affect so many British people, especially the poorer working class people, has gone through on a tiny minority vote.
Congratulations. And what name shall I put in here?
Rob Hopkins, please. From my perspective, Brexit has been something that has caused divisions, unnecessary divisions. It's taken the lid off a sort of Pandora's box of xenophobia and nationalism, which I thought we'd really kind of moved beyond.
Either way, it's going to be an economic car crash.
Human rights lawyer Jonathan Cooper is the architect of the independence movement.
The European Union has been this amazing mechanism for prosperity and peace, and it has injected fundamental values into the heart of European citizenship that we're also going to lose.
Every passing day brings a new warning for this damp collection of British Isles and their traditionally stoical inhabitants. There have been reports of stockpiling of food and medicines by the government of Prime Minister Theresa May.
This is not just about stockpiling. That concept, what it is about making sure that we'll be able to continue to do the things that are necessary once we've left the European Union, if we leave without a deal.
May tried to convince the European Commission in Brussels to accept a compromise deal, but it was rejected outright by the EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier. This has left May caught in a vice between Europe and Britain's hardline Brexiteers, led by former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, who resigned in protest at her compromise proposals.
Why don't I give this whole tray to you?
Political analysts say that Johnson and his supporters may soon try to topple May over Brexit.
Order. Personal statement, Mr. Boris Johnson.
Let us, again, aim explicitly for that glorious vision, a strong, independent, self-governing Britain that is genuinely open to the world, not the miserable, permanent limbo.
The government is also under pressure from big business. Lucy Thomas was once a prominent campaigner for the Remain movement and now advises entrepreneurs how to prepare for Brexit.
The government hasn't made all of the preparations that one would need in order to be ready for a no-deal Brexit. They haven't got enough customs officers. There are no big lorry parks if suddenly it's impossible to move things across borders.
The port of Dover, 26 miles from Calais in France, is the main freight gateway between Britain and Europe. It handles business worth $142 billion each year and up to 10,000 trucks a day. The EU's free movement of goods rules mean it only takes 2 minutes to process a truck now. But without a Brexit agreement, the reimposition of customs and other border checks could cause major disruption, as Dover warned in this video.
Even if it took just an extra 2 minutes to process a lorry, it would cause queues of over 17 miles at Dover. And there would be similar chaos in Calais and Dunkirk. The slowed movement of goods wouldn't just impact ports, it would impact the whole supply chain.
Dover claims that highways could become parking lots. Some British supermarket chiefs have warned there could be food shortages, and one even claimed civil unrest might break out. But William Bain, a former lawmaker who represents the retail industry, would not go that far.
I think the key thing is that British consumers have become used to getting the food that they want, the quality that they want, at the price that they want, when they want it. And the problem that we have is a no-deal Brexit would put those sensitive supply chains at risk.
Time is rapidly running out for there to be an amicable divorce settlement. A recent poll showed that most Britons are completely fed up with the painful negotiations and want the whole process to be completed. Another survey showed that there were about 100 parliamentary constituencies or districts which voted to leave during the referendum that would opt to remain should they be given a second opportunity. But the chances of there being a second referendum are minuscule. Brexit wouldn't just mean severing trade links. Some fear Britain could leave the European police agency Europol and lose vital intelligence at a time of international terrorism. Civil commissioners who hold Britain's police forces to account have told the government that the public could be put at risk. Matthew Scott is the commissioner in Kent, the county where Dover is located.
There is potential for both British and EU organisations to lose access to information about very dangerous people. And what we're trying to emphasise is that if there is no deal on security, both sides stand to lose.
Hi, Kev. Back in Brixham, fish exporter Steve Farrar regrets the isolation of Britain, but hopes cool heads will prevail.
Everybody's got too much to lose in the long term. You might get chaos for a little while. I think there's a lot of scaremongering going on. At the end of the day, it's a hypothetical question, but let's just answer it hypothetically. Yeah, it probably would be a bit awkward for a while, but fish and commodities and cars and everything else that's created in different countries, either in Europe or Britain or elsewhere, they've got to be bought and sold. The products will follow the money. They'll follow the money, easy as that.
As he takes his turn to offload the Mary Ann's catch, skipper Nathan Old fears a compromise when negotiations between Britain and the EU resume.
I'm not worried about Brexit, I just know the fishing industry will be the one they sacrifice to keep deals. The House of Lords, everything, it's landowners. It's not, they don't care about the fishing in this country.
The pro-European lobby claims that Britain has most to lose from the divorce, but Brexit is a body blow to a deeply divided Europe. And if it's a success, anti-EU movements in other countries will be emboldened, further threatening the concept of a unified Europe. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Malcolm Brabant in England.